Good morning. This is TimeRider at Chapter 4. I wanted to take a moment this morning to talk about the great debate between the purists and the customizers. I understand the purist point of view. I wouldn't restore the Mona Lisa and make her a blonde just because I prefer blondes. But I do believe that there is room for both, because after all, it's a toy. And it's worth about $3 when we buy it, and it might be worth a little bit more if we ever decide to sell them. That being said, I'm not without a sense of propriety. I purchased this in a lot of Matchbox toys, and I paid $3.40 for it. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't lay a finger on it. I wouldn't lay Marty's finger on it. It's a beautiful toy in wonderful condition, and I understand that the patina adds to the value, so I wouldn't even clean up the wheels. That being said, I'm going to move on to what I'm going to show you today. This is the Matchbox 45B Ford Corsair. They began producing it in 1965, but it didn't make the cut into the superfast world. It came with a roof rack and a boat. They clipped on, which is nice because there's no hole in the casting that you have to deal with when you're doing a restore. I have two of these, and today I'm going to work with one of them, but I'm going to do a custom, not a restore. I did find a boat on the internet for $15, and maybe when I do the second one, I'll do an actual restore. They all came in this sickly white, cream, green sort of color, which I don't really care for personally, but if you're a Brit in the 60s, anything other than black, gray, or beige was probably considered overstated. This one is mine, and it's actually the second one I have, the one that was not in the best condition as compared to the other. I considered it to be fair, which to me means that it's mechanically sound, dirty and chipped, but with no major scratches on the windshield, no cracks or anything like that. I purchased it for just under $3 with a lot of other Matchbox cars. I wanted to do something different, and after looking on the internet at pictures of gray, blue, beige, I found this at the Retro Ride in 2014, and I thought, man, that's the ticket. I'm going to recreate that car. So here is a little bit better look at what I started with. As I understand it, it came in the real world with the V4, and the chinless design, as they call it, was a takeoff on the Thunderbird. And it was a really popular model for Ford in the UK, and they sold a great many of them. As with everything we do, we kind of start in the same place, which is to drill out the posts. This model was a little bit smaller. I don't know the exact reproductive size, but it seemed like it was smaller than other Matchbox that I've worked on. But as is typical, I try to be very careful not to damage the vehicle any further than it already is when I'm drilling out the posts. After that, of course, comes drilling out the center of the post so I can put screws in it and put it back together later. These new drill bits that I bought are Milwaukee brand, and I love them. They work better than the bits that came with the kit, and I haven't broken a single one yet. Of course, after that comes putting in the screws. And I've found these alloy steel screws work really well. Sometimes I'll tap a little starter hole to get them going, but once I've done that, they generally make their own threads as I screw them in. I have to put a little more force behind it to get it to cut through the metal, but it works really well, and I'm going to continue to use them. As I said in a previous video, a lot of times I can tell just by looking whether I can use my citrus stripper, which is a little cheaper than the aircraft stripper. In this case, I did use a citrus stripper. It seemed to work fine, and in no time at all, I was able to get all the paint off the model. Once I was done with that, I gave it an inspection, tried to figure out if there was anything I was going to need to do. Of course, I needed to get my picks and my toothpicks and safety pins out. This is one of the ones that I had kind of a fiasco with the clear coat and wound up doing it twice. And the second time I did it, I did something that I decide not to do typically, which is file off the body lines that are created by the casting. And here I take my little soft wire brush and I use that to clean out some of the crevices that are tough to get with either a pick or a toothpick. And of course it's on to primer with my Tamiya light primer. Again, I apologize for the light. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to be moving to a new residence soon, so I'm kind of working in a little temporary space I've created that isn't very well lit. When I get to my new place, though, I intend to put something together that's a little bit more substantial as far as lighting goes, so I don't get this dim kind of yellow hazy look. But all the same, I like doing the videos and I like learning how to do them. I did a little bit of work on the chassis, but to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't want to have to take the wheels off, so until I get into my new digs and I can get a better method for dealing with the bottoms of the cars, they're just going to have to suffer a little bit. So here I am applying the second coat of the green that I created by using Tamiya X8 yellow, X15 green, and X2 white. As I said, I wound up having to do this twice, so I had to recreate this color a second time around. But I liked it. It was the exact hue that I was looking for to try to duplicate that retro ride. I'm sure that most of you who watch these videos follow Matchbox Marty. Well, he's put out a line of products, and I finally got Matchbox Marty's magnificent mat that he makes at home with his cutting board. Came in all the way from Australia. I did some work on my interior. I didn't like the red, so I painted the seats a dark brown, did the steering wheel with a chrome center and a black outer ring, and then did the rear in black, and of course I painted the trailer hitch because I just don't like those white trailer hitches. They bother me. But here we go. Matchbox Marty Magnificent Mat. Thanks, Marty. Generally, when I'm doing a restoration, I try to stay true to form. Since this is a custom, I wanted to do some special things that I don't normally do. And I actually went on the internet and looked. The amber lights on the top and the red lights on the bottom. And on the front, there's a white light on the top and an amber light on the bottom. Followed by some quick assembly, which I did off camera. Here's the final reveal. I'm very happy with how this model turned out. It is the Matchbox Ford Corsair 45B a la retro ride. And as always, I'm going to throw a couple stills on the end that show the color much, much better. This is Chapter 4 with TimeRider. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and please share. Have a good day.